internally can be done. The LRA is coming up with stringent measures to enforce that.
That's stringent, man. They're the right measures, and this new, we have to give the LRA its credit. The new leadership has been doing exceptionally well. To build upon what Mr. Stammer has started. The LRA has been a premier institution in our country. And Mr. Nan is committed to taking it further, so that even paying tax can be easier than it was now. He's scoring some successes already. If you look at the revenue intake, month to month, there has been improvements since he took over. He has met the targets, and all of these things are available, I think, on their website. The revenue and the transparent way which taxes are being collected right now. Because the president insists that if you collect the money from the people, they need to know how the monies that they pay through taxes will affect their lives in a positive way. And Mr. Nan has been doing that very effectively. I think he makes quarterly reports also to the national legislature, and he has come to the Ministry of Information to explain his administration, because the last time it was Commissioner Degonti King Saki who came and explained the processes of how they want to make tax payment easier, and we all have to contribute to the national welfare by paying our taxes. So this is what the president meant when he asked all of us, even we as cabinet ministers, he made it a condition that if you don't pay your taxes, you'll be sanctioned by him as the leader of the country. And I think it's a good step, because we who are in public office will have to take the lead and lead by example in such a crucial thing like tax payment, which is a requirement of every Liberian.
Now, Minister, let's talk a bit about the fight against corruption. I've seen some public officials handcuffed in an attempt to ensure that this government comes down on corruption. And let's get your own barometer in terms of grading yourself when it comes to corruption.
Well, firstly, the best way corruption can be fought is by maintaining a transparent system and by having the right apparatus in place to prevent it.
That means maintaining a transparent system.
Definitely, and I will explain a little bit further.
Okay.
Punishment is at the tail end. Where you arrest somebody for corruption, it's at the tail end. At the beginning, and in fact, the most fundamental way to fight corruption is to strengthen the systems. Now, I, as a minister, currently, because of the system that is in place, we have to give credit. It has been happening and improving over and over the years, so that we are at a stage now. I served in an interim government before as minister, and each ministry has its own account. The minister could write a check. There was no procurement processes. There was no PFM processes, requirements. They were not strengthened. Those that existed were weak. Now, even the Minister of Finance cannot just grab a piece of paper and authorize money. It has to go through systems. Some vouchers requires at least 20 signatures before you even reach to approve a stage. You have vetting. The reason these things are important is how corruption is prevented. And this is why even the president himself. So now you see people leaking vouchers. If the president, maybe if he was one of the interim presidents, he could stay to, we have had presidents do it before in our country. Take a phone or send for the Minister of Finance, say, hey, bring $2 million and put it in a briefcase and bring it to me. The president can do that now, and he insists that it will not be the case because we got to follow the PFM law. So even the president, when he's traveling, a request is written by the Minister of State. It goes to the Minister of Finance. It goes through the processes, including the budget section everywhere. And then a voucher is raised. And that voucher is signed by at least 20 persons. So when people take pictures with a phone of a voucher, because the president is being compliant with the PFM law and with our laws, it shows transparency. So this is why when people say, oh, I got a voucher with the president, he traveled. If he didn't want you to see the voucher, you'll not see it. Then we're not following the system. So that's the way he's fighting corruption. And then at the tail end, we had a situation where two of our colleagues were accused of a corrupt situation. And therefore, what did he do? He suspended both of them, the two senior officials, and asked them to go through the legal process. That's the way to do. He didn't, we can't tell people on the pole and wait them because somebody accused them of corruption. They got to go through the system. And it is a system that is working very well now. And this is why I'm very confident that our fight against corruption is making a mark. So much so that even the president's travel is documented with transparency in a transparent manner. I think we should be commending the government for that instead of using it to say that the government is a government that is squandering. The government is following the processes. And the processes entail that nobody is exempt, including the president's office itself. And this is why you see a voucher authorized by Minister Nagbe for presidential travel. That's not corruption. In fact, that's compliance with the PFM law, which requires that all payments be made through a voucher system. This is the system that we are following, and therefore, I think we are on course with the fight against corruption, and we have to strengthen the system. Also, at the other end is the judicial process, where our courts have our courts have a key role to play in the fight against corruption. I think they are doing very well with that. Also, their cases are ongoing. Those involving acts or allegations of corruption are going through the processes. That's the strength of the system.
Briefly, before taking calls, two quick issues from the media perspective. One, directly, we've been receiving multiple calls from our outstations talking about ELBC and as board chair of this particular institution. Has this issue drawn your attention?
Yeah, it's been brought about the stations, some of the satellite stations going on. Right. Yeah, we in fact, I had a meeting with the DG about this, and also the deputy DG raised the issue with us. It's sad because we have to have ELBC reaching our people. I was just looking at a recent survey that showed the most listened to radio station in Liberia by far. I think it's 60-something%.
Yeah, 240,000.
Yes, it's ELBC. Yeah. We have to keep it at that, And the reason we have to keep it at that because for our people to listen to the news, to listen to ELBC, to get information is a right, and we have to do. So we have this current situation where some of the satellites are off, a lot of them actually, and for the short term, we are going to meet with the Minister of Finance today. The DG and I agree so that we can find solution to that short term. But in the long term, the government of Liberia signed an agreement with the government of the People's Republic of China worth $10 million for intervention with the LBS satellite stations throughout the country. That will take a while to roll in, but meanwhile we have to do a short-term solution to the situation. So this new project, again, we have to say thanks to Mr. President, because when he was in discussion with the Chinese government regarding some of the other projects, he did ensure that LBS was included. So LBS is going to benefit from this $10 million US project that the Chinese government is working with us on, so that we can strengthen the outreach of ELBC and ELTV. So that's a positive thing, but because it will take a few months, we have to find an immediate solution to the situation right now. And I've spoken to your DG and the deputy, and the Minister of Finance will have a meeting with us today on that situation.
On the general note, the media, the relationship with the mainstream media in that of this government, the president held two different meetings before the climax of 2018. How is it like?
The best, we have a lot of freedoms in Liberia. Press freedom, very strong. We have a press so free that some people even free to cause on radio and all that. Which is not the way it should be, but that's the situation, because we want a free press, one free expression of views, one political freedoms, one freedom, an environment that allows the free exchange of ideas. And recently there was a situation where I spoke about the role of the press, in all of this. Well, I withdrew the word I used, I'll not repeat it. But the issues are still there. The press, has a responsibility, just as we as a government have a responsibility to ensure that the media remains free. And I'm saying that for us to have a free press, we have to have a professional press. And this is a debate that will be held, that will continue to be held. It's not going to go away because somebody don't want to hear it. The press itself has a responsibility to society, not to be overtaken by political forces, because if a politician controls the direction of the media, it means you are depriving the public of that free and independence, that freedom and independence that the media should have. And this is the situation that we have in Liberia today, where some elements, not the majority of the media itself, but there are elements who are determined to use their platforms to further political causes, and we have to call them out when we have the opportunity. And this discussion will be held because the press union itself has now taken cognizance of this. They are making some changes. We are trying to work on changes in the union's constitution. They asked us for us to have, give them to divest some of the authority of the ministry to the press union, which we are hoping to do. The president has submitted the bill to decriminalize free speech. It has passed through the House of Representatives. The president has sat in a meeting with the president and the pro tem, and the pro tem has assured us, in fact, just when he spoke on radio a few minutes ago, he confirmed that the bill will be passed, it will be debated and passed by the Senate. So we are making progress. This is a man who wants freedom of the media. If he didn't want it, this is the first time the Liberia might be the first country to do this. It's a key legislation for press freedom, and the president has been a key driver behind this. So yes, we'll interact with the media. There will be some rough times because we are, in a way, we are on two sides. We are the government, you are the scrutinizers. You know, we shouldn't really be too friendly. You know, we should be cordial, but we shouldn't be too friendly. Particularly the independent media, they have to, because the media has a role to scrutinize the government. The government has a role to deliver for its people. So let everybody perform this role properly.
All right. So for those of you who have questions for the minister, please make sure that you don't, make a question so long that because you're going to go through the lines and you have, your time to ask your question. If you have a comment to make, a recommendation to make, do so on 0880 514 096, 0880 514 096, or 0776 089 713. 0776 089 713. Good morning. Good morning. What is your name?
My name is Chris Tier, and I joined your conversation for myself in the resident this morning.
Go ahead, please.
Let me appreciate the Prime Minister in studio. Let me say good morning to him. Daniel, my question to the ministers: if in a capacity when you speak in a government official camp to debunk a statement after how you feel and how the public will judge him. Thank you all so much for the opportunity.
Okay, thank you very much for your question there. Good morning. I'm fine, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, this is the
Go ahead.
Let me say good morning to the minister.
Good morning.
My question has to do with the rural collectivities, mainly in two countries like Bapuru to Togo, Cape. We are here on all other roads, whatever. How is the negotiation going through the rules?
Thank you very much for your question. Let's go to the next line here from this person. Good morning.
Mr. Daniel, and good morning to our Putin Foreign Minister. Different political moderate status. I'm the PRO for the movement to protest in that we are necessary for even the community.
Morning. Don't call him man.
Sorry. Don't call him man.
always calling him Perhaps doesn't.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Go ahead. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. We can hear you. Go ahead, Abraham. Go ahead. Sorry, but your background is so noisy, and I'm sure you're not even hearing me. Good morning. Good morning. What is your name?
So the minister is here. I want to thank the minister so much for the topic on the discussion. So what the clarity in the about the road connectivity in Bolsonaro County, and I'm so much concerned about the subsistence. The subsistence, more especially when you go to the riverside road is very, very bad. But I thank God that the government, are looking for some of those places to see how best to make a big quota road going to our people in those places. I want to commend the government so much for that, and I know that in 2019 this will very be on course. Somebody even more especially the coastal link that the government is talking about. When this road is built, I'll be so much grateful to Mazarawia's government. And now I'm 2023 will just be a while for Mazarawia. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your prediction. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, sorry, let's get to the next person. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning to the SDC Church, man. We are and 10 of the people in Norway, the Liberian people, we criticize the one we don't know about. Do something that even when the president judge we have man the people, to what he's going to do. We don't be the fool to just eat and go in the election.
You see? But we look at the road, see our community road, see they come to the road, good, Maryland, Quaker, see the road, they make us to do something, but they just criticize anything on top because the president, because no one thing in the point there. We saw that is not correct. So thank you, my brother.
Thank you, yeah, thank you. Good morning. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Thanks to applaud you for having Minister for the program evaluation this morning. Among the proposal agenda is on a slash of January and will not be declared by the multi oppositions. The president has exemplified that over the period of 12 months that he will have this country at heart by allowing all public universities to run the institution without getting thousands of students at the university. So I want to our brothers who from the opposition camp will not see that as a transformation. The two community people are not benefiting greatly. You got the 3.5 million that are just there for the business practitioners. Is that our president government making? So I'm very sad to see our brothers who are being misled by these politicians to only give this government. But I'm not a new banner. We are on the way to address.
Thank you very much. Now, Minister, I want you to address some of the concerns, but also bring into your attention. I heard an announcement yesterday from Brussels Airlines talking about flights leaving early. That was due to probably some parts of the RA being dark. I don't know whether that has come to your attention yet.
No, it's not. But even in the day during daylight hours, the airport still has to have electricity because it's a part of if there is a problem, I think it might have been brought to the attention of the board of directors, but I don't think so because I myself just flew in last week, and the fact that because you need electricity for everything at the airport, the tower, the lighting, the navigational systems, all of that. So if there's a problem, I'm sure the management of the LAA is capable of dealing with that problem.
I'm not sure whether the new
we can look into it
street lights have arrived. I don't know that you've noticed that some of the lights.
You mean the RIA highway?
I mean, yeah, and not just along the RIA highway, but also Central Monrovia, Central Town, Pinsville. Some of the street lights are either off, or some of them are like blinking. If I should put it that way.
You mean the traffic lights or the?
No, I was talking firstly about the lighting system at the RIA itself, okay. And now I'm talking about the street lights.
Okay, no, even from the new bridge, the Gabriel Tugger Bridge towards Douala, you notice that there is a lot of new street lights. Yes, I have a number, it's not off my head right now, but I think it's about 104 or so new street lights have been put up. Now, on the RIA highway, one of the reasons why that project didn't kick off, it was one of the projects that we had intended to execute under the short term. But then further discussions made us realize that because the president also wants the expansion, we have been seeking interest, soliciting interest and also receiving some unsolicited interest for the expansion of the RIA road to more than one lane that is now on one side to double that. And if we go ahead and install street lights without having a final design and a final plan, we might have to make that a waste. So we are looking at the possibility of looking at a final design for the expansion of the RIA highway first, and then the street lights will be a component of that, whether to put it in the median, which is the space between the four lanes, or to put it on one side and all of that. So that's an engineering decision. Engineering activity that will drive the decision to go about with it. But it's something that will be done quickly because the objective of the president is that before his first term is over, we should have the expansion of the RIA highway. We have received some proposals already, but the reason we have not publicized those proposals, there's no decision on them yet. But we've received a lot of possibilities to expand the RIA highway. So that's why we're waiting. The LEC, situation is that there is an issue with the fact that we have a management contract with a group because our partners who funded the hydro, who funded the reconstruction of the hydro, had some conditions. And one of the conditions was that we should have a foreign management team that's working alongside our local team. There have been some issues with that working relationship, and that has affected LEC's own performance. From the government side, the government has made payments current. I think up to 5 million the last time I checked was paid to LEC of governments every year to make LEC's capacity stronger, so that they can bring in transformers, they bring in wires, they bring in meters, and all of those. So it's an ongoing discussion. I know for a fact the president has presided over at least 4 meetings with the LEC management, the contractors, and the board, because we want a solution, and I think we are getting close to that solution. So I want to use this opportunity quickly to urge our communities. Sometimes we should be a little bit patient when we have these outages, usually caused by the transformer situation, because we overload the transformers and then we have an issue. And then there's the power theft situation. I myself, I think I've been out of electricity for 3 weeks, but we have to find a way, a permanent solution, because if we distribute most of the current as being evacuated, the electricity being evacuated from Uncoffee properly, then we might not have the issue of overload and all of that. So it's an issue that has to be dealt with.
Sure. Yeah. Okay, let's squeeze in 3 calls before we wrap up, because we got 2 sets of guests to join us. Good morning. Then you can address the issues and wrap up. Morning, what is your name? Go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. I'd like to say thanks to the minister, honorable minister there for his exposition, but I have some concern. One has to do with he said educational system of the country. That has to do with the development. It's the strongest pedal. But then now I see that the young people are more or less involved in drug taking, and that's paying attention to their education. And who's responsible? The people that have these ghettos around, making money for all these young people and damaging their future, that will affect the country tomorrow. So I want to know from him the government position on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's take the next person. Good morning. Okay, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. What is your name?
My name is Robert Kanaka. I'm calling from Steven Tower.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, first of all, I want to tell the minister thank you for what he's talking in the studio there. I heard you people talking about the internet satellite for it to be more effective, like...
No, we say that one. Okay, finally, let me take Mr. Sego Kalasco. Kalasco, go ahead.
The man coming portrays me.
Go ahead, Kalasco.
Thank you. Listen, morning to your co-host. It's really a pleasure this morning, listening to the Minister of Information in Mango. And one thing that really caught my attention when he said the strength of the president is his strong, very strong mental capacity, judging from the fact that where he came from and to where he has ascended to as the president. There were people, and there are people who yet still believe that he should have been president, but he overlooked all of those things, and now he's the president. He's living up to expectation. Everything the president said that he would do, that's why he's doing. He's not being carried away by a statement made by one opposition leader saying this is our time and we need to take our country back. This kind of statement, when you listen to people that have been perceived as a group of elite and that wanting to see people from the marginalized communities and now extending to state power, and when they are making this kind of statements, and those are scary statements, and like given people look clearly that it's not about what this president is doing well. It's about people with egocentric attitude, people who believe that this country belongs to a certain group of people, and such a group of people should not be having the opportunity to lead the country, even though when they leave the country, they deliver like this president is doing, but they believe that it should be so meaningful. Let me say it's hard to say to you this morning that the president is committed, and I can say to you that after this exercise of the constitutional mandate that is exceptional and is represented by the Nigerian people, there will be an overwhelming support coming from him, the so-called opposition, to allow him and to govern this country for a next. So this country can be set in learning Africa.
Thank you. Thank you very much. He's the aide to the president, Mr. Siku Kalasko Damaro. Minister, finally.
Special aid. I'm putting special there to make it Okay, well, let me just close, very quickly. Daniel spoke about your namesake, he spoke about the drug situation. I was in conversation with the police director the other time. He, along with the DEA, I think they have been making some moves, and they should do it a little bit more. But it's also a social problem. As a society, when the family break down, the communities get broken down, then you have these problems. So we have to look at it holistically. It's a problem, really, the drug situation, and we as a government will have to take the lead to do more than what we're doing right now, and I concede that. Also, another fellow asked about the Bapolu Kidman Road. For me, I don't like to come to the public and lie. The focus now are these corridors. That's the first step that we are taking. Yeah, when we were trying to negotiate the situation with Eton, we are included the Kidman Road. But I would like to say the truth. The discussion with Eton did not conclude because they tried to change some of the requirements and all of that. And the Minister of Finance thought that would not be helpful to our country to go along with some of the new conditions that they were bringing. So the negotiations stalled. But there are still options that we are exploring. And once these options are concluded, they'll be made public. But the President's priority is the road. Yes, there are other subsidiary priorities which he still pay attention to. D12 High School, it was being eroded. That project, the President, when he came in, he jumped on it and pay inspection visits, and we have some progress there. But let me just conclude by saying, that we as a country, we have, all of us have the responsibility to protect the democracy that we have. The government, the opposition, the press, civil society, we are all obligated. Just as you will call the government out, you criticize us when we do something that's not right, I think the media, civil society should also call out members of the opposition who do things that will undermine our democracy, calling for removal of the government, calling for revolution, we know somebody that big talk, they can't do anything, but still, they are irresponsible talk that we have to stop. We have to all keep focused. You can criticize the government, bring alternative policy prescriptions. When I see an opposition leader come on radio, the maiden appearance, I want to hear policy prescriptions, counter arguments. If you say the pro agenda is not good, what's your counter agenda? Why is it not good? Is it too liberal? Is it too conservative? That's the kind of discussion we should be having. But you just the people, the same street talk that people talking, you can't repeat it again now. Then what's the difference between the street talk and the policy prescription that the opposition should be providing? So I want to call all the supporters of the president, even those who don't support him, but who ask that you just support Liberia. You don't have to support the president, you don't have to agree with his policies, but support Liberia, and meaning support our democratic process, perform your part as a citizen, and we'll all be good. There'll be elections very soon. You can if you think he's not performing, he'll be voted out. But to come and argue against the evidence, So for me, somebody says, oh, they say the economy, the argument is not against the government now. Maybe that the World Bank, who say that we have done a lot with agriculture, a lot with the mining sector, and therefore the GDP is growing, and you say no. So World Bank go argue about that. It's not the government of Liberia people. It's not our assessment, it's not our data. It's not our survey. It's the survey of the requisite international bodies that have said we need to do more, but here is the progress that the government has made. And as a result of that, the World Bank issued CPR. The CPR is the tool that the World Bank uses to work with a country. And they have released that with Liberia. And in that same document, they commended the government for the progress. That's not my word, progress that the government has made under the leadership of His Excellency George M. Weah. and I think that will spur him to perform more, and to do more for our people. So thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. The Minister of Information, Culture, Affairs and Tourism, Mr. Eugene Nagbe, joining us on the platform this morning. Stay tuned. As you know, political activities at State Run University has been halted for a bit. Tony Norris, Vice President for Your Relations, is our next guest. Stay tuned.
Already?
I've been well already. All right, good music here. Let's quickly now join Michael. We have for sports. Good morning, Michael.
Danny, good morning, and let me say a pleasant good morning to all of our television viewers and our many radio listeners. As you are aware, it has all come to pass. The 2018-2019 National County Meet ended yesterday, so with much to talk about, let's begin on this note that Bomi County is now the new football champions of the National County Meet. Bomi County defeated Magibi in post-match penalties 4-3 at the boarding point of Liberian football, the Samuel Kayando Sports Complex in Painesville on yesterday. So Bomi collected $500,000 Liberian from the management of the Liberia Bank for Development and Investment, the LBR, for winning the first place trophy. Magibi, for her part, took second place. She collected a check of 200,000 Liberian dollars. Grand Judah took third place in the competition. She defeated Bapuru County 4-3 on Saturday to pocket 50,000 Liberian dollars. In kickball, Grand Bassa County collected 100,000 Liberian dollars for retaining the trophy after defeating Magibi County 1-0 home runs at the SKD Sports Complex. In women football, Neymar defeated Lofa in post-match penalties at the same venue, and Neymar got 100,000 Liberian dollars from the president of the Liberia Football Association, Mustafa Raji. Bombing, as you are aware, they are the champion, and they will take on the Lone Star team. That's the Mali 2000 team of Liberia that was managed by the LFA former president Edwin Snow and George Weah, who was then captain and technical director of that team, will be in action tomorrow afternoon at the Samuel Kayando Sports Complex in Painesville. Bombing County will be on a float on tomorrow Tuesday around the city of Monrovia before heading to the SKD Sports Complex for their match against the Lone Star 2002 team that participated at the Nations Cup in Mali at that time. International development, very briefly, Manchester United has regained their flashy form, if you will. They defeated Spurs 1-0. Rashford was the man of the match with the winning goal. Real Madrid, on the other hand, defeated Real Betis 2-1 in the Spanish La Liga. Raised Barcelona for their part, beat Eibar 3-0, and I'm sure that the little Danny is a happy man having heard that Barcelona has defeated Eibar 3-0. Cesc Fabregas, as you are aware, has left Chelsea, and he made his debut for AS Monaco yesterday in a 1-1 draw against Marseille. In tennis, Andy Murray lost his first match in the Australian Open Tennis Championships against Bestusta at the weekend. The detail of these and other developments, you can rest assured, will be highlighted this afternoon on the World of Sports. But for now, Danny, that does it. But just before I go, let me say many thanks to all of those who participated in the process, the live coverage of the county meet, especially to the management of the National Lottery Authority. At least they were able to come to partnership with the management of the Liberia Broadcasting System, and to all of the community radio stations that were able to relay us from the boarding point. I call the place the boarding point because because for every time we go there, we see people bawling. Yeah, so so that's the boarding point of Liberian football. Danny, thank you ever so much.
Thank you very much, Michael. We are for joining us, and quickly let's take this break as we transition to. All right, good morning to all of you. Welcome to the next segment of the program, and of course we running with time this morning as we've got lots of training issues to talk about. Now we turn our attention to the University of Liberia briefly. This conversation will be a rather very short one, but very impactful with a lot of information coming through. Attorney Naristo has joined us. He's the Vice President for UL Relations, and he's joined us this morning on the platform as we talk specifically and very specifically about decision taken by the authorities of the university to suspend political activities. Attorney Tua, good morning.
Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Julius, and good morning to all of your listeners throughout this country. It's always a great honor to be invited here.
Okay, let's hit the nail on the head. First, let's get a background of student politics in terms of this sort of actions, sit-in actions, student demonstration, especially coming from SUP and other parties on campus. It's affected, learning, whether we like to say or not, but it's impacted learning. So let's talk about it and why the suspending of political activities.
I mean, everybody now associated with university should have seen this coming. And we have told students who share membership in these political institutions to conduct themselves responsibly. Let me read for you verbatim a speech delivered by Dr. Weeks last semester when the university authorities suspended student politics for 1 month from August 15 to September 15. So the suspension of student politics is last week's decision is not the first in 6 months.
Okay.
Let me read what she said. It was a speech that she delivered. She said, as a result of student clashes, school is regularly disrupted as the mass of peaceful students flee from classes for their safety. More worrisomely, the repeated acts of violence and vandalism have also caused great harm and serious bodily injuries to other students, visitors turning to normal businesses, and UL personnel, especially staff of the UL Police Department, during the discharge of their professional duties. Additionally, properties belonging to the university or its personnel, Daniel, and others have also been destroyed or damaged due to the violence and vandalism. Last semester, during a meeting with the UL Board of Trustees about protests over our registration, a group of students hurled stones and dangerously hurled stones at us dangerously while we deliberated. In another incident on Capitol Hill around this period, students damaged the vehicle of the Honorable Speaker of the House of Representatives who had come to assist in setting the protest. Similarly, the glass of my vehicle, this is the president saying, along with those of several UL employees and students, was destroyed by the mob. This violence and disruption erupted on the Capitol Hill campus again on July 6, 2018. The incident began when a group of students hurled stones and rocks that seriously injured other students and shattered panes in nearly all the windows of the university auditorium. One student who sustained an injury to the head was rushed to the hospital in the Liberia National Police ambulance. A vehicle's front windshield was also shattered. This vandalism occurred when a student political party, the Student Democratic Alliance, celebrated its 26th anniversary in the UL auditorium. Then on July 5th, 2018, students sent messages on social media that they would converge on the Capitol Hill campus to disrupt the July 26th Independence Day celebration, prompting the UL to deploy additional security on campus to ward off any potential gathering. The violence and disruption of classes continued after the July 26th celebration. On Friday, August 18, 2018, the Capitol Hill campus was under complete siege for nearly 2 hours as a running battle ensued between two contending factions of the Student Unification Party for control over the party's office located in the Tottenham Hall building. Properties of the university were destroyed. The violence spilled over onto the main street on Tottenham Boulevard, hampering pedestrian and vehicular movements for at least an hour. I have to tell you, this is what the UL administration has had to put up with over the last several months. This is what we had to put up with. And we continue to deal with this. Last Friday's incident was another episode in this violent situation that has become almost a norm now. And this is not how you run a university. And this is the speech that was delivered by Dr. Weeks to student leaders. This decision to suspend student politics last time was not publicly announced, okay? Because we wanted to work with the students to find a solution. And they committed to us. It appears that the public isn't aware of some of these things in ways that they need to be aware. And the decision reached last Friday by the UI administration is not influenced by the government. I was on campus in my office. As a matter of fact, I was in the UI conference room having a meeting when movements started to increase on Capitol Hill, and I went outside and I saw students out of the classrooms, faculty members outside. And then I actually, brave, because I'm an administrator, okay? And I went to see what was happening firsthand. What I saw was profoundly threatening and disturbing. Students were in their militancy, ready to do battle with each other. And in the process, you know who's bear them foot with? Ordinary people, visitors who come on our campus, other students who are trying to learn, faculty. You can't run a university like this. So the decision was taken. Let's suspend student politics and go
indefinitely.
Well, there are several issues here that got to be sorted out.
Okay.
One, the manner and form in which the student also leadership is selected now is through a non-voting, non-participatory process. It's through an MOU where the three main parties, student-based parties, agree. That arrangement has been subsisting for several semesters. It's like a marriage of convenience, and that marriage of convenience came because of the same violent disturbances that prevented the holding of free and fair, transparent, participatory, democratic elections on our campus. That arrangement was supposed to be interim, and several things should have happened so that the students, the over 20,000 students who attend the University of Liberia, can have the opportunity to elect who they want, so that that person can be responsible and accountable to them, your administration and others. That has not happened. So the problem now is two of the parties, or at least one of the parties, is saying, look, they don't want to be in a marriage anymore. I'm a lawyer. When you marry, after a while, one person says, I want a divorce because of mutual incompatibility. It can be for several reasons. So this is where we are. Because of that, we have not been able to form the new government. Okay? Some of the conditions that these parties are saying, look, they want elections. They want elections. In order to have elections, there are a few things that we got to do. Why can't we have elections? It's important. So all of this is going on. Then on the other side, you have intra-party confusion. Now, let me tell you something. As long as there is intra-party confusion in any of the political parties, it will affect normal academic activities, because when students are fighting each other, it impacts us. So we are suspending politics to ensure that, one, we protect the students who come on campus, who have a right to enjoy the library, who have a right to be taught, who have a right to learn. The constant disruptions have set us way behind. We can't run a university like this. So we just want to make sure to those who have heard and have read some of the utterances on Facebook that we are, as a university, clamping down on rights, absolutely not. The university is an institution for the Republic of Liberia. It's a public institution. And our core function as a university is to educate, to train men and women. To the extent that that is being hindered by the extracurricular activity of student politics, we have a responsibility to suspend it, to look into it.
Now you historicize about the recurrence of this particular protest by the students. How involved the administration has been to address this issue so that it just can reach to the players? How involved has the university been in this particular regard?
Well, we've been very involved. The interim arrangement, some of the other parties have always complained to the administration that they are very dissatisfied with its configuration, and they have always urged the administration to ensure that the conditions that first of all led to the interim arrangement are addressed. I think the ultimate solution to this is holding free and fair elections on campus, where every student...
Is that a recommendation from the administration?
Well, that's
a decision.
That should have been part of the solution. That will put an end to the interim arrangement. We live in a democracy, and in a democracy, citizens' participation is key. And we have close to 15 to 20,000 students who, rightly so, feel that they have to elect who certainly should represent them and be their voice. That has not happened. The interim arrangement has replaced the process, and it was just a matter of time that confusion would come, because they've been contending. They've been contending. Mm-hmm. So now, if two other parties don't want to sign the MOU, which expired last semester, we have a problem. That problem we have to fix. And
are you working on that now?
Of course. As a matter of fact, we're on our way to a meeting now. Our student affairs office. We have a new dean for student affairs who is charged with the responsibility of bringing the parties together to find a solution. We want to find a solution. We do not want the university to be a place where students will not have the opportunity to enjoy all the rights and privileges. So we want to, again, send a warning to those students who are in a constant habit of disrupting classes that is not the solution. That is not the solution. That is not the way. The administration is not taking pleasure.
So until those issues are resolved, politics remain.
Yes, until further notice. Okay. We want students to abide by it, because listen, we have a U.S. student handbook, and the release we sent out, we clearly reiterated, the penalties and sanctions for conducting yourself in a way unbecoming of a U.S. student.
Okay, thank you very much.
The other point I wanted to make
briefly.
That there are those who also have said that the university has not gotten money from the government pursuant to the free tuition. One of the things we would like to inform our students is that the government has announced a policy where they will pay the tuition, not fees. However, many of the students are not coming forth in terms of paying their fees. The government, by this week, is going to give us $500,000. We have submitted all the paperwork. We are in midterm now, and our registration process, the government wants strict accountability in terms of who's enrolled. So we submitted all of the paperwork to the government. The Ministry of Finance, we met with them, and they're going to, that is, we credit our account with $500,000 as a first installment. The challenge we're having is that some of the students who are enrolled are not coming forth to pay their part of the fees. That is still
of course going to affect them.
It's going to affect them. So we're encouraging students to do your part, because the government's part has been taken care of as far as all the paperwork is concerned. Do your part so that we can have a peaceful end to our semester.
Okay, thank you very much, Attorney Tua, for coming. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you very much.
Checking interest is March, right?
No, this year we eat Friday. We are even going to do it sooner.
Because I mean for the graduate school.
All our interest is the same.
Okay. I'll hold on there.
Yeah, grab your phone.
Good night.
Yeah,
Coming to the graduate school. Was it you go to the where you come?
Well, I mean, yeah, I come to the big question.
Yeah, about 4 more chops.
Down the aisle and be the first and the last girl to become my bride. You could be the one to make a fool of me, or you could be the one to be confusing me, or you could be the girl in the world that I know through the rough times gonna stay true to me. You could be my Juliet, I mean I have this looks, but I'm still your Romeo. You could be my princess, I'll be your charming prince at the service of only you. That's why I never wanna love another woman. That's why I know I'll never love another woman. That's why I can never love another woman. That's why when I think about you leaving, I find myself grieving. Though it seems deceiving, I'm still believing.
You know what? Okay.
Stay with me forever, and I'll be
Still sounds good. Very
Always still sounds great. Well, we're on to the final segment of our program. Just to remind you that anytime after 10 o'clock, we'll be joining our outside broadcast team on the grounds of the Capitol for the for programs marking the return of lawmakers to Capitol Hill, the second sitting of the 54th legislature. Our guest, Honorable Francis Dopo, is here. Thank you, sir, for joining us. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, and Happy New Year.
Sure, Happy New Year, and Daniel and Cry alongside Julius Content. And we keep the ball rolling.
Okay, firstly, leaving from the executive, moving to the legislative branch of government, that transition. Briefly, how's it like for you so far? Now making laws, or you're enforcing the laws?
Well, yeah, I think it is an opportunity for me and along with my colleagues, because I have over time worked in the executive, especially with policy instruments. And then at some point in time, I thought those instruments needed to be looked at. And so my being in the legislature for the first year, I gave me the opportunity not just only to review, but also to perform a level of oversight. And I think it's a worth the sort.
Expectation are going to the legislature for the first time, and what you've seen there so far, how is it?
Well, obviously, like I said, I have not fallen below expectation. I think we still think that there are a lot more to be done. In the first year, it's a couple of orientation. The fact that we come with professional powers, but at the same time, we needed to understand the workings of the legislature. And I think 1 year is a lot of time. Now that we have understood how it works there, and we believe that this second setting will be a better one.
Let's look at the caucus of River G County. How are you guys working out together, putting things together to improve development in the county?
Well, the caucus is good, and we're working with the county leadership to get things going on. And like we all know, the government has started on a slow note because of financial constraints, but things are going to get better. We have had our county sitting, and there are resolutions that came up. The challenge we have is that the government owes the county up to $1 million in United States dollars, and it was not budgeted, So we think this recast period, the county budget, we work with other counties that the government also owes to see how best we can structure an arrangement that that can impact our development. So we only going to live currently on 200,000. That is, I know, very small to develop a county.
But of that 200,000, what were some of the monies allocated towards in terms of the county setting?
Well, that's the only money that River G County has. We do not have currently do not have a concession there. We were benefiting initially from Kutu Iron Ore, alongside with Grand Gila County, and as you know, Kutu is down. So we have no other funding source except the county development fund.
So with that fund now, the county setting has taken place, right?
Yeah. So there were previous resolution from Webo in 2015, and those actions in terms of the city hall laying out the the fish town city, also doing commissioner compound, funding for the disabled, the youth, and so forth. Some of those things were not actualized, so the council decided to restate the implementation of the project. So that is the new resolution we have. But the money available cannot even fund about 20 to 25% of the.
As a legislator, Honorable Doko, what has been some of your own intervention looking at some of the gaps and the challenges the people are facing?
Well, obviously the intervention would be working with the government, looking at the land management agency and see how their projects impact the county, and that's a normal situation. You will understand that the lawmaker will not implement the budget, but in the appropriation area, we make sure that indeed our various areas like the health, agriculture, and other education, are affected. Except that for this time, for this budget year, we could not have done so much because of the pull out of the pool fund. As you know, the pool fund was terminated. The contract expired, and then the government will take over most of those volunteers to employ them. So we don't have much money to move to education. So about $15 million that was realized from the budget process were used for almost all of the volunteers in the federal counties under the pool fund to put them on the government payroll. So not much we're seeing. Morally, our own moral intervention obviously will be restricted to our federal district, and that's the kind of thing we do because we have to provide scholarship assistance, endowment from our various schools in our district, get teachers, volunteer teachers to compensate them. And a couple of things that we can do morally that we're doing, but it's not the issue that there's special funding somewhere. But we have made some, negotiation out there, and as you know, our negotiations are not tangible; they are intangible, except when the results start to come. So it's always sometimes people say we're not seeing it, but you need to start talking something before something happens. So that's what we're doing currently.
So what are some of the negotiations you've done?
Well, our focus is basically on the area of education, health, agriculture. Now, one of the things we've done, we're working with some of our colleagues in other countries, including Ghana, because I have some parliamentarians in Ghana that I've met, you know, and we're investing into the cocoa industry in my area. And to start with that, I personally, you know, currently cultivating about 50 hectares. My target is about, you know, 100 hectares of cocoa land, you know, and I've done a minority of up to 25,000 CDs, you know, so just for the beginning. And we did our district sitting, you know, where the district came up with our areas of concern, and we have done a proposal to affect this area. Currently, the proposal is under review. I mean, review is being done, but spiritually, we're going to give it to God in prayer. As you know, I'm a deacon, so before I release the proposal out there for my people, I want God to direct me, you know, properly. So, but our proposal will focus on education, health, and agriculture.
Now, as caucus chair, I have seen, you know, caucuses or development encounters stalled as a result of bickering amongst caucus chairs and members of caucuses, which have greatly impacted development in some areas. Some areas, monies are readily available, but because, you know, Person A wants the development to go to this side and Person B wants it to go the other, so they have these kinds of issues. What can you say towards your caucus?
Well, my caucus is fully united. While it's true that we should have been 5 and we are 4, but as you know, the budget law calls for majority vote. Okay, so the fact that we have majority to work together, we can work together. While it's true that there are negotiations on the other side to see reason, you know, to get, you know, the other, you know, member of the legislature, part of the caucus, you know, to be reinstated. But that is the prerogative of my colleagues, and it's not any other person's prerogative, you know, it's not legislative politics. And
that was interesting. When I spoke to him, he told me there's no law that says you can expel him from the caucus in the first place.
Well, then there's no law that says you can be part of the caucus. Either, you know, so we cannot go to that kind of argument. So it's an association of people, okay? And if you think that you're not going in line with the normal tenets of our association, we think we can disassociate ourselves from you, okay? And if you see a reason, you know, to be a part of us, we can reconsider you. That's just all.
As a here, what have you done so far to make that work and perfectly amicably for the interest of the people?
Well, obviously, as a head, you go with the majority rule. I mean, we talk to our colleagues. The only issue here is just, like I always say, is that our senator, you know, should see reason to know that we are colleagues. Okay, we all are equal. Let me be clear, irrespective of age. When it comes to the legislature, that's not age matter. It's a matter of your vote. Okay, so if you need my collaboration, you should forget about age. Okay, I mean, in lobbying, you can use age as a factor if you think people can succumb to age. But people like us don't succumb to age because we represent people of age. I represent people that are up to 99 years old in my district. So if I succumb to age year, then I will not do the best for them. Okay, so I succumb to what is good for my people. So based on that, I just think we can see we can work together. I think there are prospects there. I don't enjoy seeing one of my colleagues now in the caucus, to be frank, but it is the happening of the day.
Where are we going? 2019, we're already into it. What are some of the priority issues when the people have offered to you at the level of River County?
Well, like I said, most of the things we focus on for this 2019, we pivot on our own moral intervention, where government cannot reach, you know, to see how we can reach out, you know, and fill the gap in. When it comes to our normal legislative function in terms of lawmaking, you know, oversight, representation, as you know, in the last sitting, we co-sponsor a couple of bills in there. I was so surprised that when I saw the IRS report, they didn't consider my sponsorship of the bill alongside with Honorable Katsudu and Dixon Sibo on the Expo, you know, Expo Pro repatriation bill, and I come before the committee, okay, and also the resolution that we proffered, giving the president more leverage, you know, to go out there, you know, to find money that we can be able to fit our role. They didn't consider that. It's very important because it is a legislative duty, okay, to negotiate those, you know, financial instruments, and then for us to give the president that power. That's a big milestone for him, you know, and we also serve on, in terms of oversight, we serve on the Public Accounts Committee. Our committee produced about We publish about 9 reports in terms of the audit finding, including the NASCON and other institutions. It's currently before the executive for action, okay? And we think also people should have known that because it's very important when it comes to accountability. I also serve on the Commerce Committee, and our committee have worked along with the Commerce Ministry to see how we can be able to open up our market and making sure that a lot of people and we don't have that quote unquote monopoly in the market. They are latent monopoly. Sometimes you don't see it actually, but they believe there. So we've been working with the Ministry of Commerce, and also we work on a lot of financial instruments as member of the Waste and Finance Committee when it comes to the tax law, the excise tax law, the restatement, and amendment of that excise law that will require to reduce the level of evasion in taxes, especially on declaration, in terms of alcohol, tobaccos and other stuff. We also work with the restatement and the amendment of the Public Financial Management Act, okay, and that was passed, and I was on a committee, and the land right bill, I was on the conference committee of that, and I think that had been signed into law by the president, including the Local Government Act. So a lot of other things that we worked with there when we were there. So we think that in fact that was a learning curve for us, and it was very important. And this time around, there are other things that we'll be thinking about. Okay, now I'm concerned also about volunteerism. I think I will be working with my colleagues to put forward a bill for this year on compulsory volunteerism. We believe that most of our young people that come out of colleges and things, they have no idea of volunteering. Okay. Yes, indeed, when we talk about internship is just one thing. But you need to have a public service. You need to serve before you graduate. That gives you, time.
For that, I mean, for high school students.
Also, too, you have to serve. Community service is very important. Before you get out of high school, you might have done some level, a year or two of community services. And that's the kind of thing I want to put for. I know it's going to be criticized, but I can tell you, it's the best way forward for a country like this, because we are a post-conflict country. We need to put our minds to be volunteers. Nowadays, people do things because they want money. You need to come up from high school, you got to do that, okay? So that's one of the things I'm talking about. I'm also going to put pressure along with my colleague on the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Public Works, and the Justice Ministry to give us status as to the Eton and the Ipoma. No, otherwise we'll be putting forth a bill to repeal Eton and Ipoma. We cannot keep the government committed to a deal that has no good result yet. It's not a bad thing. The intent of the government was very clear to get the role. That's the reason why we voted it. Okay, to make sure that we have a role. If the deal is not working, that's nothing lost. We can just repeal it and find other means. So I will also be focusing on that too.
The last time you were here, you shared your thoughts with us about the state of the economy, which I thought was quite key to how we were proceeding as a country and also as a legislature that's well versed in economic matters. Having said that, the economy is not a quick fix. However, there are measures that could make it to work better. I'd like to share your thoughts and opinion going forward. This is a new year, and how can we better off the economy?
Well, initially, when we were within the tumult, and we recommended a couple of things, and we did it on the air at the same time. We share with our colleague, Honorable Dixon Sibo, who comes from the coalition, the CDC, and then and chairs the Committee on Banking and Finance. And I think he did well because some of the points that we push in our recommendation, we saw someone coming up, even though they were not implemented the way we thought, but at least actions were taken. For example, the mopping up issue was done, but it was not done successfully because in my mind, I think, except the report showed otherwise, but when you are mopping up the currency, you should do it legitimately from individual. If somebody is a money changer who has hundreds of thousands of Liberian dollars, okay, with no source of registration, no source of the income coming from anywhere, that money is something wrong with that. It's illegal. That person should be arrested, but not to give that person, US dollars. So I think it should be people. If they did so fine, we wait for the report. Well, I think it should be people, Forest Bureau that will register and also maintain account with the commercial banks. And I also think the commercial banks, you also should be in the know so that it helps the economy. That's one. Second, we talked about the issue of the changing of the currency. We were very clear about that, and we stay clear about that. But now, as it is now, before we change the currency, the legislature will have to be clear. We should know clearly the amount of money in circulation. folded. You know why I'm saying that? Because a bit my imagination that in recent time, especially in the month of December, for us to be seeing legacy note on the market coming back from the bank. I was shocked. Not just only the legacy note, but dilapidated or mutilated legacy note coming from the commercial banks. Why? What become of the money? Because the central bank told us no money was missing. They received the money, they refused the money. Well, when they had $5 billion, okay, they still have $9 billion asset out there. They needed to get it out. When you print 10, then we believe that indeed it was sufficient enough to remove all. But if you start bringing back to us, like I said, no, it suggests otherwise. We have to be sincere Liberian people. You sterilize the money, you took it out. Why you worry about it? You mop the money, currency out, you borrow it in the bank, you borrow it back to us. Why? So there are more questions to be answered, and I'm going to be clear on that with my colleagues, okay? Because look, we're not going. This president we have is a young president. Most importantly, he comes from the southeast, where I come from. Okay, the southeast has more and more and greater political ambition. Okay, and we will not sit there and allow him to fail. At the same time, he cannot wear the emperor clothes. We'll be telling him how it looks like. That's my role. Yeah.
And similarly, Honorable Dixon Steve will sound that similar way.
Yeah,
that
sure.
Going back to the legislature 2019, they will have to hold the central bank and other government ministries feet to the fire. I think because of time, Daniel, we can take a few calls.
Sure, we can squeeze in a few calls. But I'd like you also to proffer some economic suggestions as we move forward. Let me announce the numbers and we'll come to that. 077-6089-713, 077-6089-713, or 0880-514-096, 0880-514-096. Number double.
Yeah, so I think the government is moving, I want to admit. Okay, and I learned some people criticize. Yet indeed we all have to criticize, because, but it doesn't mean that holistically it's not proceeding. Because some of the things we've seen, the reform in the area of taxation, the reform in the area of trade, they are all proceeding, because those were things that when our government was there, those were things we put into place, and we've seen this government also, working on it. Where they have shortcomings, I know we're going to get involved. Yes, the bottom line is we got to look at, we generally review our entire trade sector. I spoke with just casually with the MD from the port, and I think the vision he shared with me suggests that indeed, yes, we think the same direction, where we need to now focus on the ports, in the leeward areas, like look at the issue of having a dry port. Normally a dry port, is getting a continuum port outside of the river port, so that you can, like in Nagbe or Bon County area, so that people can have access, to the heater lane in terms of goods and services. So that will also be good, because that's a major part of our trade. We can't just focus just on the APM terminal operational area, but revamping the canal, making sure that indeed we are corridor, to other areas. Yes, the roads are coming up, which is very good, because it pivots, it's a driver, a key driver, to development, and I think it's very good. I also think the government should put more action on taxation. Revenue generation, because it's very important. People need to be accountable, to the government in terms of their taxes. And I think listening to the president and listening to the LRA people, and I also come from the LRA too, so that is very important. But by and large, I think we also, for the most part, okay, for our economy to pick up and jumpstart, we need to have direct investment into agriculture. Direct. We tired with investigating what kind of thing grow in this country. Anything can grow, yeah. Okay. So we need direct. And I'm also going to look at my colleagues that in this coming budget, each district or county will have an amount set aside purposely for agriculture. Yeah. Either through the agriculture ministry or supervised by the agriculture ministry. But if you have direct funding that is actually for agriculture, we need to test some issue. We can't keep experimenting other things, but let's test the real cash. Let it go there. If River G County will get $1 million for agriculture investment, the people of River G County will sit together and know what they're going to produce. They will do their own study and know what they can do. The same with Nagbe and other counties. That will pick up, because the economy will not rely on what we call those things that are subject to backstop technology, the gold, the iron ore, other thing. Because sometimes you may think gold is good, you getting gold out, but at some point in time in life, you don't know, there will be other precious stones that will come up more than gold. You don't know, so you don't need to focus on that. One thing you know, like Thomas Martel said, in his personally, the human consuming, as long as on the air, will consume more, and we don't do anything to handle the consumption. There will be natural, vices. That is personally. The more we on this earth, when we say consumption, not only the rice we eat, the energy we consume, okay, that will causing earthquake and other things, because we have to make sure that we control it. So, as Liberian, we think 4.6 million people, they're too small. Well, they are consuming more. So we get focused. We get too many green around here. We need to. You can walk here to go Bible school and other areas. Too many grass around here. There should be either plenty or something on the road.
Sure, and those are his thoughts. Representative Francis Dopo joining us this morning on the platform. 0880-514-096, 0776-089713. Good morning. Morning, what is your name?
My name is Fred, and I call you from District 14. Good morning, Honorable Dopo. Call you true leader. I want to say this clearly. This is the representative that speak of agriculture. The people of Liberia County will be glad if only you shall have a push and make that happen for the people. Your visions are all passionate, and your commitment is something that people need to work with. We from River G and specifically Kitipo Matwaken, the youth, will rally around you to pray to God to see your dream come to success. Thank you all so much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Let's move on to the next one. Good morning. Okay, that caller dropped off the line. Let's go back to the next line here from the next caller here. Good morning.
And crying morning to the Honorable Institute. It is Emmanuel Enthusiast from District number 6.
Go ahead.
I want to appreciate you very candid and this morning for laying your thoughts on so many critical issues, specifically the agro sector. And I enjoy your analysis this morning. And to be quite frank with you, I think you spoke much likely like the others. And that's why we expect for some prominent and eminent people we also start to guess what. And this country belongs to each and every one of us. So we are obliged, we are under the obligation, the moral obligation, and to promote the dignity, the stability of this country. So I think I want to say bravo to you. I wish you well in your endeavor as you fight hard, struggle to emancipate and the masses. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good morning. Good morning. Morning, sir. Go ahead.
Good morning, Mr. Daniel Accra, and good morning to your studio guest.
Good morning.
My name is Abraham, political moderate Setu. I'm the PRO for the movement to protect Imbasawiya legacy calling from Doe Committee.
Go ahead, please.
Lord, because he spoke lengthily. Only Lord, because God could not to bless you. We want for this first branch of government to be effective and efficient under the fruitful government, under the leadership of President George Manawiya. Because I feel that the Liberia make a right decision by electing President George Manawiya. I'm appealing to the Honorable Lord, because for the bureau committee that set up by the speaker to be active in order to do Liberia job. We are collaborating effort. We feel that we have a better Liberia under the leadership of President George Manawiya. May God continue to bless you and bless our dynamic president. Thank you for putting the opportunity.
Thank you. Good morning. Okay, that person dropped off the line. 0880-514-096 or 0776-089713. Good morning.
Good morning, Daniel.
Welcome. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, my name is Momo Famula. I speak to you from Clariton this morning.
Go ahead.
Let me say good morning to Honorable Topo.
Good morning.
I've been following the discussions, and he spoke very well. But there are issues that he lamented on, and those are issues that are very important to the growth and development of our country, which has to do with agriculture. Because if you look at Liberia, I feel that agriculture is the only way now, is the only way we can use now as a country to bring back the sanity of our country in terms of economic growth. Because if you look at Liberia, the issue of agriculture over the years have been an issue that we as a people and government have failed to pay key attention to. That is the reason why we found the problem that we're going through. Because I always told people, for you to have a prosperous nation, the issue of agriculture should be number one, and second to that should be the issue of housing. Because if you look at other developing countries or developed countries, they pay key attention to these things. So because of that, you find the countries are moving faster than we that are lacking behind. So Honorable Topo, I say thank you for that brilliant idea. We just pray that the executive will collaborate with the legislature so they can see how best to move things forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Well said. Good morning. Let's take the next person. Good morning. Okay. That person dropped off the line. So let's take one more before we come back to Honorable Topo. Good morning. Okay, let me come to this side. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome. What is your name?
How are you?
Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. Stop listening to the radio. Okay, that person doesn't seem to be ready yet. Let me go back to the line and take the next caller. You want to be listening to the radio at the same time while on is not possible. But Dopo, you've listened to some of the concerns that have come through the lines.
Well, I think one of them were commendation, which I appreciate, and also I see some as commendation but criticism in the sense that I need to do more. Yes, so we believe that we have the right kind of police with all in the legislature that can have it done. That says, some people just have to see a combative legislature. Yes, indeed, we are combative, but we are strategically combative. That is the reason why when instruments come to us, they don't go the way they came. People don't understand that. If you look at Eton, they didn't go outside the way they brought it to us. We didn't consider our reserve, our financial reserve at the bank to be used as a collateral. Instead, we use the consolidated account. And I think maybe Eton got issue with that, okay, but we could not have done so. The right thing to do was to protect Liberian people. So for the most part, we are critical, but in a way that it serves the purpose. The purpose of being critical is to see the government running good. That is the reason why we put the government feet to the fire. Accountability, sometimes we talk about accountability, but just think it's not money. Our level, our oversight level is not just on the money. It's on the tangibles, okay? So when you say, because sometimes when we see land management agency, they come to us, quarterly report showing money and things. I can tell you, if you are listening as a minister, in this section, we will be going to you to see those things that you put into your report. Currently, we have reviewed a good part. If you ever thought that there was a legislature that never reviewed reports, you'll be making a mistake, because our colleagues have sat together, we have reviewed your quality reports, and we'll be coming after you for the tangibles. And the budget law is clear that we can recommend sanction against the minister. It's in our budget law. I hope you read the law, it is there. And we're going to make sure that we implement the budget law to the letter.
Thank you, and you couldn't have said it any better. Thank you, Odubu, for coming. It's been a pleasure having you.
I appreciate the New Year treat. Thank you very much.
All right.